All right, welcome to the Brad Haider podcast. Taping this on a Tuesday. Today we're going to be breaking down the AL East as part of our 2013 wall-to-wall baseball MLB preview. Joining me to help break down and preview the 2013 MLB season is the Honorable Joe Pascal. Joe, how you doing today?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
All right,
to be here.
Nice. All right, so let's start with the AL East. As I previously mentioned. Got a lot of interesting storylines in this division coming into this year.
Yeah.
A lot of new players coming and going. For my money, this is probably going to be the best division in baseball this season.
Definitely from top to bottom.
Because you got Boston and all the moves they made.
Come back. They can get healthy, bring guys back. I mean, they'll be good again. Yankees, always just big money. Blue Jays, I mean, they're got the entire Miami Marlins, like, their best players. Tampa Bay, I mean, never count out David Price. And then Baltimore, they played well last year. So
yeah, they were a playoff team last year.
Yeah.
So you have all five teams in this division could realistically make the playoffs.
Yeah, they get hot at the right time. I mean, definitely make a run.
It would not be out of kind of the realm of possibility.
Not at all. Nobody would surprise me, essentially.
All right, to start off the show, give me your projected order of finish in the division.
Well, number one, Toronto Blue Jays.
Okay.
Just because of all the acquisitions they got, they can come back healthy. Josh Johnson, Mark Burley, R.A. Dickey. I mean, even if Dickey doesn't perform like he did last year, still he can be a number 3 pitcher. And I mean, I would take him as my number 3 pitcher. I mean, I'm sure any team would.
Yeah.
2, the toss-up between the Yankees and Boston, but going with the Yankees. I mean, CC Sabathia, can't count against him. Robinson Cano and Teixeira, I mean, 2 of the best hitters in baseball, in my opinion. So I can't really argue against that. And Ichiro played well last year, and I mean, with Granderson out, that kind of sucks. But if they get him back, they'll be fine. And number 3, Boston. I mean, just because I don't really like their pitching staff that much.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about that later.
That's pretty much the main reason. And, I mean, if they can stay healthy, I could definitely see them making a wild card or even pushing to win the division. 4, Tampa, just look at their lineup. It's not that exciting. Nothing really pops out. And then with David Price.
But I feel like they're always like that.
Yeah, well, it's true.
Like, they're not flashy, but
with, like,
they play hard, and they're always there. They always make it interesting.
It's true, but with Boston having all their guys come back, if they can stay healthy, I mean, Boston's going to be a better team. The Yankees obviously pay for a better team. And the Jays, just looking at it, if they have guys perform decent, they'll win games.
Yeah. And
Baltimore finishing last. It was a fluke last year. I feel like that Baltimore just got hot at the right time. And, I mean, I don't know.
They won so many one-run games.
Yeah. They got lucky.
You can't bank on that every year.
No, they're good. Matt Wieters, Manny Machado, J.J. Hardy. I mean, they got guys like that.
They're getting Markakis back.
Yeah. They got a lot of good players, but I don't know. Their lineup just doesn't pop out as much as the rest of them. I just don't see it being them winning as many games as they did last year.
Okay. Now, my projected order of finish in the division is, number 1, I have the Boston Red Sox.
Okay.
I just think the roster moves they made in the offseason combined with kind of ridding themselves of all the kind of key players in the whole Bobby Valentine scenario that kind of hampered them last year, both on the field and off the field. I think just kind of wiping the slate clean of all those guys and starting anew, bringing in John Farrell, who was pretty popular when he was there with the Red Sox earlier in his career.
I like him. Definitely good.
Second, I have the Toronto Blue Jays. Like you said, pitching staff could be the best in the American League, depending on how Dickey performs and Josh Johnson coming off an injury. And if you look at their lineup, I think they have a good balance of power bats and guys who can hit for average and then guys who can run and steal bases. So they're going to be a fun team to watch for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 3, the New York Yankees. They have some questions as far as positions, namely catcher and third base. And then with Granderson getting hurt recently, breaking his forearm, you don't know exactly till when he's going to be out till. They're predicting May, but that remains to be seen. Number 4, I have the Tampa Bay Rays. Like I said before, they always make it interesting. They might not have the biggest names in the book or, the brightest stars in the game, but they play hard for Joel Madden, and they're always there in the end. So you can't discount them. They could easily...
They're always a surprise team.
It could easily be a case where they finish 4th in the division but finish over 500 for the year.
That's true.
And then number 5, I have Baltimore, as do you. Same reasons. I particularly don't like their starting pitching.
Yeah.
They don't really have an ace per se. And just kind of, I think last season was just one of those lightning in a bottle type seasons. And it was fun, but I don't think they're going to...
Showalter will have them ready to play, but they just, I don't know.
I'm not saying they're going to go back to like the Orioles of like 3 years ago where they were one of the worst teams in the league.
They're going to compete.
But I don't think they're going to win the... I could see them maybe finishing a 500 or
I can
just
see them
below.
Possibly, like, if they get hot, maybe finish 3rd in the division, but I don't see them finishing any higher than 3rd. I see them finishing 4th or 5th. Just with the rest of the talent that's in the division, too. Unless one team just, gets unlucky and has a lot of injuries, then, I don't see them moving up too much.
Okay, now let's start with the kind of winners of the offseason in this division. That was the Toronto Blue Jays. Obviously, they had that big trade with the Marlins, kind of basically...
fire sale.
Yeah.
Just stole
basically
all the good players.
Brought in a large portion of the Marlins core players. The big names being Jose Reyes, Mark Burley, Josh Johnson, and Emilio Bonifacio. And I think...
Also got R.A. Dickey.
They traded with the Mets and brought in Dickey. And then they also, kind of the wild card, was they acquired Melky Cabrera from the Giants, who was having an all-star season last year until it came out that it was pharmaceutically enhanced. So he's kind of, the jury's still out on whether or not how effective he's going to be. And they didn't really lose anybody, too.
Yeah.
They definitely had a plus as far as acquisitions.
They definitely gained a lot, and even if Cabrera doesn't perform, if somebody like Emilio Bonifacio who can play, he's like a utility man, can play infield, outfield.
He can swipe a bag for you if you need it.
If he can get his stuff together and actually play well, he's somebody that could fill in if Cabrera doesn't do well. And you have a guy that can either lead off the lineup or do 9-hole and be like a second leadoff.
All right, now let's run through the Blue Jays lineup. So if you want to go through and just read off what their projected opening day lineup is.
All right. Oh, catcher, they got J.P. Arancibia.
Okay.
First base, they have Edwin Encarnacion. Second base, Meister Izturis. Third base is Lowry. Shortstop is Reyes. Left field, Cabrera. Center field, Rasmus. Right field, Joey Bats. And DH is Lynn.
That's pretty... And then their number one starter would be Dickey.
Presumably.
Well,
as of right now. Definitely best pitcher on the staff, Josh Johnson.
That's a pretty deep lineup, top to bottom.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
So you have the power bats and Batista and Encarnacion and Lowry, but then you also have the guys who will get on base, like Reyes and Izturis.
Yeah.
And then you got the nice mix of some other guys in there.
Yeah,
so
Kobe Rasmus, he could easily go for some power.
He had a pretty good year last year.
You never know. Some of these guys you just never know. They could definitely just get hot and just add more to that lineup.
Now the big question with them is just going to be how the Marlins players kind of transition into the American League, especially Josh Johnson coming off the injury, and even Dickey coming over to the American League and kind of the success he had last year with the knuckleball.
Yeah, it was really his first year of true success, and
and it was a great story. 37 winning the Cy Young. It's just you never know if he's going to be able to repeat that. It's such a kind of a niche kind of skill that he has. Exactly. But if it's working, it's working.
Yeah, for sure.
And, obviously Mark Burley's pitched in the American League before and earned himself a huge contract off of his kind of stats he put up with the White Sox.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And then Jose Reyes, how's he's going to hold up? He's had a lot of injury concerns in the past before he was with the Mets. Didn't.
Well, that's their big thing with the Jays. They just got to stay healthy.
How well everybody meshes together.
Everybody on their team that's a big name is somebody that has had injuries before. Is prone, like Josh Johnson, Reyes, Joey Bats has been hurt before. I mean,
and then even Melky, you don't know if he's going to have the same level of kind of production he had last year before the steroid.
Exactly. So, I mean, picking them first, just looking at their lineup, picking them first is a no-brainer, but, they could definitely encounter some major injuries somewhere along the line just because the guys just, have been there before. And, I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely how well that lineup meshes will definitely kind of be the telling point of whether or not Toronto can make a serious run at the playoffs. All right, so let's move on to the next team, the Boston Red Sox. Obviously, it was much criticized and covered last year, all the troubles that they were having in the locker room, internal feuds, kind of tuning out Bobby Valentine, who's no longer with the team.
It kind of carried over from the previous year, too.
Yeah, with the whole collapse at the end of the year.
And everything that's going on, the clubhouse and everything. I think it just kind of carried on, and Valentine was put in a bad position, and he said some things that didn't really help out, bring the team together. So just a big shit show from the beginning, and just wasn't meant to happen.
And I think they made the smart play and kind of just, like I said, wiping the slate clean of all the kind of negative influence, for lack of a better term, in the locker room.
Then also bringing in Farrell, who's used to Boston, been there.
Wasn't he the pitching coach before he became the manager of the Blue Jays? He was with the Red Sox in some capacity.
He was with the Red Sox beforehand. So, it's a good move. Somebody that knows the organization, knows the ins and outs of it. He'll be a good fit for them.
Yeah. Now, they brought in some pretty big-name players in the offseason to help kind of get the Red Sox back on track. They brought in Johnny Gomes, who's probably going to be their starting left fielder to open the year. Stephen Drew brought him in from Oakland, probably most likely going to be their starting shortstop. Ryan Dempster, who started last season with the Cubs, finished up with the Rangers after he was traded at the deadline or around the deadline to help kind of shore up the somewhat shaky starting pitching rotation. Joel Hanrahan they acquired in the winter in trade with the Pirates to kind of solidify the bullpen. Mm-hmm. And then Mike Napoli, brought him in from the Rangers. He's probably going to play first base after spending most of his career as a catcher. And then Shane Victorino, who was acquired as a free agent, spent most of last year with the Dodgers, traded midseason from the Phillies. Now, here's the Red Sox most likely opening day lineup. Catcher, Jarrett Saltalamacchia. First base, Napoli. Second base, Pedroia. Third base, Will Middlebrooks. Shortstop, Stephen Drew. Left field, Johnny Gomes. Center field, Jacoby Ellsbury. Right field, Shane Victorino. DH and David Ortiz, staple of the Red Sox lineup. And then most likely opening day starter, number one starter, is going to be John Lester. Now, another thing I think that hurt the Red Sox a lot last year was they got absolutely annihilated with injuries.
Oh, yeah.
It seemed like they had another guy going down. Ellsbury got hurt early in the year, missed a lot of time. He had shoulder injury. And then they brought Middlebrooks up, and he was playing well, and then he went down.
Everybody that they needed got injured, and it was just a ragtag lineup the entire season.
Yeah, they were piecing it together with prospects.
Yeah,
and
with that and just the troubles that they had, their season was just doomed from the get-go.
Yeah, now, they got rid of, obviously last season, the big deal that they made around the deadline was the kind of huge swap with the Dodgers, sending Carl Crawford, Josh Beckett, and Adrian Gonzalez out to Los Angeles. Now, that deal, I think, was a combination of kind of chemistry and just pure financially, because they owed those guys so much money, and with the direction the team was going, I think if Crawford played 162 games in his 2 years in Boston, I'd be surprised. Definitely. He was always hurt, and then right when he got traded out to Los Angeles, he hurt his elbow, so he's probably not going to be starting for them.
The moves they made were good. Their team right now looks I mean,
it just obviously
it looks better. I mean, Beckett was getting old. I mean, he was struggling lately.
he wasn't the same pitcher he was.
Adrian Gonzalez was good, but I mean, you don't necessarily need him. You can get other pieces and be just fine.
He wasn't. Another thing with Gonzalez is he just wasn't hitting for the same power he was out in San Diego.
That's true.
I mean, they were paying him like a middle of the lineup power hitter, but he just didn't have the same pop. And then Crawford, obviously, with the injuries, and then when he was on the field, he didn't have the same level of production that he did in Tampa.
Exactly.
And they just, Ben Cherington and Lucchino, they just kind of made the decision that it's not worth the money that we're paying these guys, and we just kind of need to start over. They almost did what the Marlins did, essentially, just not to the same kind of extent. They just kind of blew it up and were like, we're going to rebuild it. They have some holdovers, like Ortiz and Ellsbury and Pedroia. But those were kind of the core young guys, and not necessarily young, but the core guys who'd been there before.
They don't want to change their lineup completely. I mean, they still want to keep, somewhat of an identity, but...
And they still have good players.
They still got Lester and Buchholz and Poppy and Pedroia and Ellsbury, guys that have been there for a decent amount of time. And then they just added, some other pieces that could help them make a run, potentially.
Now, you said you're not in love with their starting pitching.
Nope.
So as it projects, their starting pitching rotation is going to be John Lester, Clay Buchholz, Felix Doubront, John Lackey, and Ryan Dempster as their fifth starter.
Yeah.
Now, Lackey has basically been
not a big fan of John Lackey.
A forgotten soul in Boston ever since he signed there a couple years ago from the Angels. He's been short of terrible. He's been injured. How he still is even projected.
Like when they got him, he was supposed to be a good guy, like a guy that could be an ace or a number 2. And I mean, he's lucky if he's their 5 pitcher.
Yeah, I don't even know how he's in the projected starting rotation.
I mean, they don't have anybody else. Dempster's your 5 pitcher. I mean, that's almost worse than John Lackey. I mean, that is worse than John Lackey. I'm not a fan of their lineup or their pitching lineup. Doubront, young, and he's good. He just needs a little more time. I mean, he struggled last year. They went like 11-10 with like a high 4 ERA, which isn't good. I mean, Buchholz, same thing. He had an ERA around 4. Lester's really like the only sure thing in their pitching rotation. And
yeah,
that's what scares me about it. I mean, they definitely could do something, but this is the reason I put Boston as my number 3 team in the East, just because the fact that they're starting pitching just scares me.
Fair point. Now, I think their lineups are going to be able to score the runs.
Yeah,
to support.
It's going to be hard. You can't try to go and outscore everybody.
Yeah, that's not the nature of baseball.
That works sometimes, but I mean, when you have, I know it's going off stats last year, and things can change. But when you have 4 starting pitchers that have ERAs around 4,
that's not.
I mean, you're going to lose. You're going to lose more games than you win.
Yeah,
definitely. I mean, they can definitely hit. Their lineup looks good. I mean, if Napoli can come in and play good first base.
That's going to be another thing. How do you think he's going to handle the position switch?
He might struggle a little early on, but I mean, I trust him up there. I mean, if they see him and think that he can play it, I mean, I'm not going to say that he can't.
Did he play any first at all last year with the Rangers? I can't remember.
I can't remember exactly. If he did, it wasn't too much. But I don't know. I think he'll be all right. He might struggle some, but I think he'll be all right. That and seeing Steven Drew, how he does at shortstop.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised they're not sticking with Siriaco. He played well for them last year when he came up.
Yeah.
And filled in when they had a couple injuries. And he's young and kind of homegrown.
Yeah.
He's the homegrown.
Well,
and
he'll come in if there's any injuries or somebody.
Yeah, Steven Drew had the whole ankle thing that he missed a lot of time.
Yeah, but if you're going to go out and get Steven Drew, I mean, you're not going to sit him on the bench.
That's true.
You're going to start him. I mean, you're at least going to give him a chance.
Yeah. Siriaco will be with the big club just because he can play multiple infield positions.
Definitely. I mean, right now he is the backup for second short and third base.
Yeah, so his kind of utility.
So, I mean, if Pedroia, Steven Drew, or Middlebrooks go down, I mean, he's first one there, going to get playing time, and he'll be a spot start, provide good.
Day game after night game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think Middlebrooks is actually going to be a star, having First full season in the big leagues coming up this year.
I said we can stay healthy.
Yeah. What did he have last year? He had didn't he break his hand or something? It was kind of like a fluky thing,
yeah,
like
it was
a wrist
like
maybe.
I can't remember exactly. It was something.
But
like
I mean,
that.
he was a bright spot for them last year, and I think being in the big leagues for a full season, he's gonna become a star in the league.
Definitely.
All right, now let's head down I-95 to New York City. Let's talk about the Red Sox hated rivals and the team in baseball that everybody loves to hate, the New York Yankees.
The evil empire.
Now, they didn't have the huge offseason like we're kind of like everybody in baseball and that follows it is accustomed to the Yankees having. They're kind of, if you could call them big signings this offseason, where Travis Hafner, who's kind of fallen off the face of the earth, and Kevin Youkilis, who is going to be their starting third baseman opening day.
Yeah.
Because Alex Rodriguez, once again, is going to be out until God knows when with his hip injury.
Yeah.
So
it was unusual, the Yankees not going out and trying to buy like a championship team or anything like that.
And I think
usually we're just used to that.
Those tendencies, I think, have decreased ever since Hal Steinbrenner kind of started running the show. Like you can tell, he's constantly talked about trying to trim payroll and be have more flexible of a payroll.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and they're gonna have Cano's due for a new deal soon.
Oh yeah,
and then they have Teixeira and Sabathia under the big money.
They have a lot
Jeter,
of guys that are about to get big money.
And then A-Rod. So I don't know if it's necessarily that if it's unwillingness or if it's just
they're anticipating
they're incapable of, or they're setting up for future things.
Yeah.
So let's run through their lineup.
All right, starting lineup: Cervelli at catcher, Teixeira at first, Cano at second, Uke starting at third opening day, Jeter at short, Gardner in left, Granderson in center, Ichiro in right, Travis Hafner at DH, and obviously opening day starting pitcher CC Sabathia, who is arguably the best pitcher in the game.
Yeah, there's a few that would argue that. And then that lineup's going to change, obviously, with the injury to Curtis Granderson breaking his forearm.
Yeah, that was the projected lineup. So it's going to be Gardner starting in center, actually, and Eduardo Nunez starting in left field projected.
Who is a really interesting guy to watch because he can make some things happen with the bat, but it's always an adventure with him in the field.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be different in the outfield versus his usual position playing short or third, but he makes it fun. And he can swipe a bag for you if he does get on base. But that's not the typical Yankee lineup. I mean, the infield is still kind of still have the stalwarts.
I mean, if Youkilis can get back to his form, even from a couple years ago, it doesn't have to be great, but provide some power in that lineup. If Jeter can come back healthy from his injury, I mean, they can be decent. Outfield though, just with Ichiro, like an old Ichiro, Gardner and Nunez in the outfield, and Hafner's DH. That's not really.
Yeah, Hafner's just fallen from grace. I mean, he was a revered power hitter several years ago when he was with the Indians, and he's just combination of injuries and just lack of production. He's kind of
just fell apart real quick. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's just like a rapid decline.
Now let's talk about the biggest question mark in the Yankees lineup or around the Yankees organization is the catching situation.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, lose Russell Martin to the Pirates. Cervelli's kind of been their backup, spot start type catcher.
Yeah.
But do you think he could be an everyday catcher for the New York Yankees and provide the offensive production as well as the defensive kind of?
Well, I think behind the dish, he'll be fine. I think defensively he'll be fine. I mean, he's not going to do anything spectacular. I mean, he's not going to be like Yadier Molina where nobody's going to run on him. He's going to throw everybody out and pick people off at first base and stuff like that. But I mean, he'll be good. He'll be average, above average. Batting wise, I don't think he should really add too much to the lineup. I mean, I don't know. Let's see.
He's going to be hitting ninth most likely.
Oh, definitely. I mean, last year he played 18 games and hit 209. I mean, I don't see him hitting. I mean, if he hits above 250, I call that a good year for him.
Oh, the Yankees would be ecstatic if he does that.
I I see him hitting probably around 220 this season.
Yeah, that's probably a realistic expectation for sure.
It doesn't add too much power. It's just kind of he's there because he can catch. That's his thing.
Now let's go through their pitching staff. Obviously, Sabathia, power lefty, ace of the staff, no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Hiroki Kuroda, who was real good last year for the Yankees.
Yeah, definitely.
Gave him quality innings. Andy Pettitte, the old horse in the barn.
Oh yeah,
he's
real old.
So he had the injuries last year. He did pitch well at times, but the age and kind of the lack of velocity and kind of just deteriorating physical capabilities that he possesses. You don't know what exactly you're going to get from him. Phil Hughes, who I feel has been one of the bigger enigmas in the Yankees organization ever since he kind of came on the radar. They've bounced him around between relief pitcher and starter, and he's shown flashes where he's pitched great, but then he's also shown flashes where it's like, how is this guy even a major league starter? And then Ivan Nova, who was a budding star in the Yankees organization.
Surprise.
And then he kind of took a step back last year, did not pitch well. So the Yankees' rotation, all the guys in there have showed that they can be quality starters.
Outside of CC, you can maybe include Kuroda in that. The rest of it's just kind of questionable. Like Pettitte, Hughes, and Nova. They could all perform really, really well. They could all perform, 4.05 ERAs.
Yeah, you never know.
It's just one of those things where, how they're pitching that year.
But given the Yankees' track record and ability to hit the ball out of the ballpark, it's definitely, it's a sense of relief knowing that you have a lineup behind you that can put up runs.
They'll be good if Euclid can, play well, and Ichiro can, who was a surprise player to me last year. Like I thought he was too old and wasn't going to do anything. And with the Yankees, he played well, and they can get Granderson back and playing. They have some power in that lineup, without a doubt.
If Teixeira, ever since he's got to New York, he's just gotten off those really slow starts.
Yeah.
If you look at the Yankee lineup, one of the things, if you look at the Yankee lineup throughout the course of the year, they're not going to have a lot of guys hitting, above 260, 270, but their power numbers are just off the charts. Obviously, Cano and Jeter, they're going to hit around 300, but Teixeira's usually about 250, 30 home runs, 100 RBIs.
Go big or go home, right?
But that's what they pay him for.
Go big or go home. But yeah, he does.
He's expected to hit the ball out of the ballpark and drive in runs.
He hits for power, and he has a good glove.
Oh yeah.
That's all you really need.
A vacuum cleaner over there first.
You don't really need him to hit power, hit for average or anything.
Yeah, no, he's not trying to win a batting title.
He was, bat 283 last year.
Oh, he hit 283.
No, never mind.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Oh wait, something like that.
It wasn't 300.
No, it wasn't 300.
Another thing with the Yankees this year is they're going to have Mariano Rivera back.
That helps a lot.
Who, tore his ACL shagging fly balls last year, which was just such a freaky thing, and that kind of spooked the Yankee fan base. They're like, oh, this is not going to be our year. If we lose Rivera shagging balls in the outfield during warm-ups, which most relief pitchers and pitchers do, just kind of as
a little exercise, just
as a custom, but it's just one of those freak things.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm a big Mariano Rivera fan, but he's old. He's coming back from an injury. I don't know how useful he's going to be.
I think he'll still be good.
I think he'll still be good, but obviously it's not going to be like what he has been.
Yeah, but he's just been kind of in a class by himself for most of his career. I think he's going to come down to earth a little bit, but he's probably still going to be a top 10 closer in the league.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just say he's not going to be as dominant as he has been in the past.
All right. Now let's head down south to the Sunshine State of Florida, the Tampa Bay Rays, who kind of they had a lot of roster turnover in the offseason. They made the deal with Kansas City, brought in Kansas City's top prospect, Will Myers, who's an outfielder, and they traded away James Shields and Wade Davis two pretty big cards in their starting pitching rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they still have David Price, who's a budding star. And they have a lot of young guys in Alex Cobb and Matt Moore and Jeremy Hellickson, who, if they kind of keep on their projection, as most scouts have kind of thought they will, this might be a breakout year for all three or two of the three or whatnot. So as their lineup stands today, or as it's projected to be opening day, Jose Molina behind the plate, James Loney, who they acquired in the offseason, at first base, Ryan Roberts at second, Evan Longoria at third, Yunel Escobar at shortstop, another guy they brought in the offseason, Matt Joyce in left, Desmond Jennings in center, and Ben Zobrist in right field with Luke Scott DHing. Now, another guy they lost in the offseason was B.J. Upton, who's now with the Braves. I think he's going to be missed in the lineup, but not to the extent that his brother Justin is going to be in Arizona. But you look at their lineup, and there's nobody outside of Longoria that jumps out at you as far as kind of star power.
Yeah, I agree.
But they're always there.
That's one of those things. That's why I put them at 4, just because they don't pop out. But so I said, they could potentially, make a wild card.
Like if they finish second, people would be like, "Oh yeah, they're good."
That's what the Rays have been for the past 4 years or so. It's one of those teams where you don't project them doing well because their lineup would not suggest that they're going to do well. But they always finish up near the top, and you're just like, well, it doesn't surprise me that much.
It's kind of like the Marlins, like back when Jack McKeon was the manager.
Yeah.
Like the teams especially like the teams in the division, like when the Yankees or the Red Sox have to go to Tampa late in the year,
mm-hmm.
the Rays just seem to like pick it up another level, and they're always a tough out.
Yeah, which I don't understand because they have no fans. They go to their games. How they do well at home and how they're able to get up every day and be excited about it with nobody coming to games beats the hell out of me.
Still getting paid though.
Yeah, but
yeah, I can.
If you walked out into field and saw almost all the seats empty,
winning cures that though. Now, if you're on a team that's in last place and 20, 30 games back in the division, it's going to lose 100 games. It's a little tough. But the Rays are usually, they got something to play for as far as playoff position.
That's true.
Usually late into September.
Yeah. They're like little pests, they just always hang around.
Like a gnat at a barbecue.
Exactly. It's just always bothering you. They just show up.
Now, how much do you think the losses of James Shields and Wade Davis are going to affect the pitching staff and kind of just the psyche of the team? Because those were two. James Shields has won a lot of games for them. Wade Davis came on strong.
Yeah, losing those two, it's going to hurt them some, definitely in the pitching staff. I don't know how much. I don't think it's going to affect the team that much. Just as a morale
psyche kind of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Madden will let it.
Yeah, I don't think. Madden's a good manager. They brought in some new guys anyways. They're young, or they have some young guys that are it doesn't. I don't think it's going to really matter to them too much. But no, it definitely hurts their starting rotation.
Yeah, I think that's how much it kind of affects them is contingent upon how the guys like Hellickson and Moore, who were former top prospects who've graduated and have gotten plenty of big league innings, but they just haven't reached their full projected potential. Exactly.
Yeah.
They have to step up and be the guys. Like Matt Moore was the number 1 prospect in baseball a couple years ago, and he could be a number 1 starter in the majors. And then Alex Cobb has gotten big league innings. So it's definitely going to be interesting how their young pitching pans out and just how their lineup, how they manufacture runs. They've never been a team that's going to hit the ball out of the ballpark a lot. They're always kind of manufacture runs. Obviously, Longoria can hit 30 home runs. If he can stay healthy, which he missed a lot of time last year, but if he's in the lineup every day, I think that's going to be a big boost from the team because he's kind of their RBI machine.
Yeah. Well, actually, looking at their lineup now, Longoria is the only true star player they have, but from top to bottom, they have a lot of just solid
players.
Players, yeah. Like, it's nobody that's, like, incredible, but they don't really have anybody that just, like, straight up is like, what the hell are they doing in the lineup?
Yeah.
I mean, they have saw, like, Escobar can play. I mean, if he gets his stuff right, he can play. Jose Molina, it's a Molina brother. I mean,
not the offensive kind of.
But, I mean, they can, not like offensive like Benji, but, I mean, he's a solid catcher. James Loney,
who's kind of fell off a little since his days with the Dodgers.
Yeah, but
bounced around.
You never know. He can turn it around. You got Zobrist, Joyce, and Desmond Jennings in the outfield. I mean, they have guys that are solid baseball players that have had or that can have good seasons.
Yeah, and then Sean Rodriguez coming off the bench. He's utility infielder.
Yeah.
You know, they're just one of those teams. They like playing with each other, and they always make it interesting.
Yeah, and Madden will have them ready, and, I mean, he'll have them playing together. He's a good manager. I mean, I put him at fourth just because their lack of star power, but they could definitely, I mean, it would not surprise me if they moved up to the top of that division and made the playoffs.
All right, now let's take a look at the last team in the division, the Baltimore Orioles. Kind of the darling of last season, you know, coming out of the doldrums of the previous years and winning 90-something games and making the playoffs, eventually losing to the Yankees. Didn't really do much as far as personnel in the offseason. They re-signed Nate McLouth, but they did lose Mark Reynolds and Robert Andino. But they're also getting Nick Markakis back off of injuries. So, as it stands right now, their projected lineup. So, Matt Wieters at catcher, Chris Davis at first, Ryan Flaherty at second, Manny Machado, who I think having him for a whole year with the big club is going to be a big boost.
For sure.
He's a budding star in the major leagues. J.J. Hardy at short, Nate Reimold in left field, Adam Jones in center field, Nick Markakis in right, Wilson Betemit at DH, and then opening day starters, most likely going to be Jason Hamill.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my big question on this team is their starting pitching rotation.
Without a doubt.
Jason Hamill, Wei Yen Chen, Chris Tillman, Miguel Gonzalez, and Brian Matus. No one really, kind of grabs your attention as, ace potential, Cy Young possibility.
I agree. Nobody really pops out. Nobody's going to be the guy that's just going to dominate.
I don't think none of those guys. All those guys have a slim chance of winning 20 games.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But their bullpen, I think, is just what's going to help them out. And Buck Showalter, they play hard for him, and it's going to be interesting to see how Markakis comes back off of injuries because he's kind of been forgotten almost in Baltimore, and he was, a rising player in the American League and also the entire major leagues. So if he's able to come back and kind of regain the production level he had before he got hurt and missed all that time, that's definitely going to be a big boost to their lineup. I just think that last year, like I said earlier, was one of those lightning in a bottle years where everything just broke right.
It was a fluke.
I'm not. Yeah, like I said, I'm not. I don't think that they're gonna just go back into the basement.
I mean, it's kind of like the Jays, whereas they're not gonna be as good as the Jays, but I mean, they have a good manager. I mean, Showalter knows what he's doing. He's gonna have them ready to play. I mean, they have some talent that could definitely play well. I mean, Manny Machado, like you said, Markakis, Adam Jones. I mean, these are guys that can definitely go out there and play and produce some runs for this team. But
I honestly think that the team that does wind up finishing 5th in the American League East might be only 15 or less games back.
Oh yeah, I mean
from the first place team.
It's definitely unless somebody just
conservatively.
Unless somebody just gets rattled with major injuries. I mean, it's going to be a tight race for the division.
Yeah, and then just playing all those games against each other.
Yeah,
I mean that's
nobody's going to dominate another team. I mean, everybody's just going to beat each other from top to bottom.
Yeah. So, also with Baltimore, they have Machado, who was brought up towards the end of last year and played a kind of integral part in their playoff run, I guess you could call it. He's kind of been their kind of prized possession within their organization. Came up as a shortstop, moved him over to third. I think that was just pure kind of size and better position profile, better as a third baseman.
Definitely.
Now he's kind of been compared to A-Rod ever since he came out of high school. They're both from Miami. They kind of have the same tools. He's going to be an interesting guy to watch because I think he has the potential to be, an all-star and potentially. Definitely. I mean, I don't think he's going to have the same appeal that A-Rod had when he first kind of broke out in the major leagues.
No, but he's definitely.
But he could be a guy that could hit 300 and hit 30 home runs, and
he's going to be an impact player, which is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Because with this lineup, it's not going to be that hard for him to be an impact player, but he could definitely just be one of those guys that could definitely help them stay in the pennant race.
Yeah, kind of ride him.
Yeah. Ride him
late into the year,
and Adam Jones, and maybe somebody else gets hot. And they just ride them. I can definitely see that happening. He can hit for power. 51 games last year. He had 7 home runs and 26 RBIs, which is decent. His big thing is I think, which I always, this is something that always bothers me, is strikeout to walk ratio. 51 games, struck out 38 times, only walked 9.
Yeah, that's not good.
I
think that's just inexperience.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. He'll get better with that, but it's still something that just bothers me because even in the minors, he had almost a 2-to-1 strikeout to walk, which isn't terrible. But I just don't like guys that strike out a lot. I'd rather have guys that are just going to make contact.
Put the ball in play and see what happens.
Oh, yeah. I'm a big believer in that. Just try to make something happen. Guys that strike out a lot are just...
They're the kind of rally killers.
Yeah, exactly. All
right, now, those are kind of all our team-by-team breakdowns for the AL East. Now, give me kind of one kind of major storyline that you're going to be watching all year in the division.
Well, really, it's the health of, all the teams. Really, the health of the Blue Jays and how their pitching staff, R.A. Dickey, Josh Johnson, Burley, Brandon Morrow, and Ricky Romero, and kind of how they can hold up. R.A. Dickey is a question mark with just for the fact that stellar year last year, but knuckleballer, and Josh Johnson, coming off injuries and stuff, just how they can hold up. And if they can play well, the Jays are going to win it. So that's probably what I'm looking forward to the most, or going to look at the closest, is just how they do with injuries and they can stay healthy.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking at the Red Sox and just how they kind of rebound from the turmoil that kind of ravaged them the last 2 years, or 1.5 years. Kind of ridding themselves of all the kind of bad eggs and almost starting over, but kind of not at the same time, and just how their pitching staff holds up. Because I picked them to win the division, and that's kind of going out on a limb, but I just think that the combination of the roster moves they made and the manager changes, I think they're going to be back in the conversation for the division crown.
Yeah.
Now, give me one player who's kind of younger or kind of had a bad year last year that's going to come back and rebound and have kind of a season that's going to make people take notice.
Somebody that's going to have a good year?
Yeah.
I'd say I'm probably going to go with Middlebrooks. Middlebrooks, didn't play too much last year. When he came up, he played well. Only played in 15 games or something like that? No, he played. How many games he played?
No,
he played more.
He came up in May, but he missed a lot. He missed a good portion of that with injury.
Whatever. Yeah, well, he played well when he was up, and I don't know. He's a young dude. The Red Sox need him to play well.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because he's probably going to be one of their middle-of-the-order hitters.
Yeah, definitely.
With
so they need him to play well, and that's somebody that I think can step up to the challenge and definitely deliver for them.
Yeah, all right. The guy I'm going to be watching all year in the AL East is going to be Matt Moore, starting pitcher for the Rays. Power lefty, don't grow on trees, and he's of that breed. And how scouts had kind of projected his career would go when he was coming up through the minors, being the top prospects, not only in the Rays organization, but in all of baseball. And just seeing if he could fill the void of the number 2 or starter that was left by James Shields, or even the number 3 starter left by Wade Davis. Because I think if he kind of develops into the player that everybody in baseball thinks he could be, I don't think the Rays and their limited fans are going to kind of miss James Shields and Wade Davis too much.
Yeah.
Another guy I forgot to talk about with the Rays was Will Myers, the guy who they acquired from
the
Royals in the James Shields Wade Davis trade. Kind of a rare thing to see a prospect. Granted, it was their top prospect, but a prospect who hadn't really had too much big league experience.
Yeah, well, he's one of the top prospects in all of the minors. In all of baseball.
But still, giving up 2 proven major league starters.
Sometimes you just got to cut guys loose, and they just wanted to start over. Try to get some young guys in there to try to build back up. So James Shields he was the winningest pitcher in Rays history or something like that.
Possibly, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure he was. And, it's just sometimes things just run their cycle, and the guys just got to go, and you just got to start over and start stockpiling some players and build up your farm system a little bit. I don't know. Hellickson, Moore, if they can pitch well, they didn't really lose too much.
Yeah. Now, just guesstimate. How many games do you think the team that wins this division wins the division by?
How many do they win the division?
Or you want to do set like an over under? Do you think that the team that finishes in first place in the AL East wins
by? I'll put it at like 3.
Over under 3?
I think it's gonna.
That's what I was thinking.
I think it's gonna be right around 3 games. It's gonna come down towards the end. It's gonna be.
I think
it's gonna be a tight race.
I don't think there's gonna be one team that's kind of like out of it by the All-Star break.
No, not at all.
Unless
if anybody, if somebody gets injured, if they had to pick one team that's gonna be out of it by the All-Star break, they're still gonna be close enough. But the Orioles, just based on the fact that their lineup is not as good as everybody else, but I still think they're going to be close enough to where if they got hot in the second half, they can make a run for the playoffs. So,
do you think that this division gets 2 playoff teams? Just like out of the 5, not necessarily they win. Like a team in this division wins the playing game, but just there's 2 teams that are
playing
in the playoffs. Like one of the division winner, obviously, and then the second place team plays in the playing game. Do you think that's a realistic possibility?
Yeah, definitely, especially with looking at the other divisions.
I think the Central is kind of weak this year.
Central is very weak, and then the West is going to be good for some for the top couple spots. But I don't know. It's definitely a possibility. Just looking at it, because even you and me had differences because your number 1 team was your number 3 team. So
we had the same 4 and 5, but our 1 through 3 was different.
Yeah, exactly. So it could go any way, and I think that unless they just beat up on each other too much.
That's going to be the interesting thing is all the division games.
Yeah.
And just having them play that many games against this good a competition, how that's going to kind of dictate the race.
Well, it's kind of like the SEC in football,
Yeah.
That whole thing is they beat up on each other, so, they have a couple losses. It's not as big of a deal. Except, in this case, they beat up on each other. It still goes by overall record, so somebody's going to get screwed. I think that's possible that they could have 3, but, realistically, probably not, because I think they might just beat up on each other enough to where, everybody's record is pretty close to each other.
So, how many games do you think it's going to take to win in order to win the AL East?
I think you're going to ask me that.
like you said, with all these teams have potential to win 90 games.
Yeah.
But the combination of the division games, I think that a team's gonna win this. Like, I think the team that wins this division is gonna win like low 90s, if not like high 80s. Like, I don't think there's gonna be a team that wins like 100 something games.
I was gonna say if a team gets like 95 wins in this division, they are definitely the first. Like,
that's a good number.
That's a good high number. Like, you win 95, you're gonna win it.
All right, that wraps up our AL East preview. Coming up on the next edition of the 2013 wall-to-wall wall-to-wall baseball MLB preview. We'll be previewing the AL Central. But until next time, Brad Haider, Joe Pascal, adios.
Peace.